Cameron Todd Willingham was executed in 2004, thanks in part to the testimony of this man, a jailhouse informant, who in 1992 told jurors Willingham had confessed to setting a fire that killed his 3 young daughters.
I can't imagine what went through his mind when he asked the question, well, will y'all bury me with my children? And they said no. You know, in his mind, there was no reason for them not to.
No reason, because Johnny Webb now says Willingham was innocent.
Had you ever talked to Willingham before? Did you even know who Willingham was?
In 1992, Webb had been convicted of aggravated robbery and was housed in the same jail where Willingham awaited trial. The lead prosecutor in Willingham's case was Assistant DA John Jackson, a friend of Webb's father.
I mean, I was just one of the good old boys. Good old boys take care of good old boys.
So let's be very clear. Willingham's supposed confession to you, who came up with that story? Was it you or Jackson?
Jackson.
And what did he tell you to say?
He showed me the pictures of the babies and stuff. I mean, he convinced me of his guilt. This is not like something that was just hatched on a fly. I mean, it took days. I mean, I went to his office 2 or 3 times, and I mean, it was a period of grooming, of coaching.
Webb says Jackson also promised him something in return for his testimony. Webb's own robbery sentence would be reduced. Webb says he took the deal.
I mean, if you're in my position, you're 22 years old, and the DA, the one that controls your life, and he tells me, look, we're going to convict you of this, but we're going to come back and we're going to pardon you for it. But you have to do this. Or I'm going to give you a life sentence. What are you going to do?
But you knew you were being asked to lie under oath.
Sure.
Did you know that in itself is a crime?
I wasn't being asked, I was being forced. It was either you do this or you're going to get this.
Did you know what consequences might result?
I didn't have any idea. I was young.
Webb alleges Jackson told him to hide the deal from the jury.
So when you were on the stand and Jackson directly asked you if you were going to benefit from your testimony, why did you say no?
Because he told me to. He said, now you can't say nothing about a deal. You can't, you have to say no. And I did. I did what they told me to do.
Well, in the moment that those words left your mouth, did you feel your conscience at all?
Absolutely. Felt like I'd lost a piece of myself.
You know, Johnny, you lied under oath. You are a liar. Why should we believe you're telling the truth now?
You don't got to believe me. Believe their words. They're right there.
As evidence, Webb points to 20 years of letters between himself, Jackson, and Jackson's surrogates. A 1996 letter written by Jackson apparently documents the prosecutor's efforts to lessen Webb's prison time.
It says, I have recently received a letter from Johnny Webb, which indicates that your records show that he was convicted of the offense of aggravated robbery, when in fact he was convicted of robbery. I would appreciate your taking this information into consideration when computing any parole eligibility.
The Innocence Project, representing Willingham's family, says it's also dug up evidence of an undisclosed deal between the prosecutor and the informant. A memo in Webb's file bearing what Jackson admits to be his own handwriting mentions cooperation in Willingham, and a note indicates Webb should have a lesser sentence because that is what John Jackson wants it to be.
Johnny Webb denied having had any of those incentives provided to him. When he testified, he was presented as if he was testifying out of altruism, out of the goodnesses of his own heart.
Your decision to lie contributed to the execution of a man who may or may not be innocent. How do you live with that?
Well, for 22 years, it's been, you know, pretty much destroyed my life.
Meanwhile, Jackson, the prosecutor's life, got better after Willingham's conviction. Jackson won election to become a district judge, serving until 2008. But now, 64 years old and retired, history is catching up. This March, the Texas Bar Association accused Jackson of ethical breaches in his handling of the Willingham case.
Do you think he was innocent?
Everything that I've looked at in this case and everything that that really has come up has shown that there's absolutely no evidence that he committed this crime.
And that, the Innocence Project argues, creates reasonable doubt about the guilt of a man who's already been executed.